Summary of How to Win Any Negotiation Without Raising Your Voice, Losing Your Cool or Coming to Blows. By Robert Meyer. Accentuate the positive. People who win negotiations usually have a positive attitude and expect a lot from themselves. Negative attitudes breed failure. To win negotiations, master the concepts of Lancer, linkage, alignment, needs, control, evaluation and reading. Linkage: get to know the other people around the negotiating table. This will enable you to lead and persuade them. Be friendly. The others may be your opponents, but they are not your enemies. In fact, if they consider you a friend, they will be more flexible and open to your suggestions. When a Delta Airlines plane crashed, killing 137 people, Delta sent employees to the homes of the victims' relatives to express their condolences. As a result, very few of the relatives sued the company, because they felt close to Delta and its employees. Your involvement with the other parties changes the way they treat you and the dynamics of the negotiation. Alignment: use the energy of the other parties to make your own case stronger. In other words, practice a kind of negotiating martial arts. In this phase, minimize the other party's resistance to your proposal. Present hypothetical cases, maintain your self-assurance and find out what parts of your idea the other parties like. Then, stress those elements. Don't dismiss others' positions, instead, ask their opinions and show that they complement yours. Work with individuals: it's easier to convince one person than a whole group. Counter criticism with praise, but do not present false hope. Needs: discover the other party's motivations. To make the best deal, find out what they want and need. For example, a person who buys a Rolex watch wants status, not an accurate timepiece, since Rolexes often lose a few minutes per month. Buyers who want a reliable watch look elsewhere. When people ask you for an estimate for your product or service, don't simply provide a ballpark figure. Ask for more information. Find out their most important criteria, and emphasize those in your proposal. Control: don't just speak, persuade. Engineer consent by providing positive feedback to your negotiating partners. Pay attention to the order in which you present ideas. People tend to remember the introduction and conclusion best. They also remember your style, including your body language. Most important, when you finished saying what you have to say, stop talking. Evaluation: choose your communication medium. Your choice may affect your negotiating position. For example, when you communicate by phone, you lose the advantage of body language. Most people prefer short proposals to long ones. A good proposal contains your most salient ideas, but not all of your ideas. Save a few to propose if the negotiation begins to stall. Reading: decipher the other party's bargaining positions. Try to see the issues through their eyes. Once you understand them, you can strategize how to treat them and determine the outcome you want. For example, will you need a lengthy, ironclad contract or a simple one? Do they want to be treated informally as friends or formally as business colleagues? While the Lancer approach breaks down negotiating into segments, in practice, negotiation is seamless and each stage merges into the next. As you develop a bond with your counterparty, you learn to control the interactions until you reach a deal. Work on the highest priority points first, and make sure all parties sign a written agreement. In later sessions, proceed to less important issues. Caution: never tell the other parties they've made a good deal. It sounds as though you think you have put something over on them. They may become suspicious and question the process, or even decide to reopen negotiations. Say it ain't so. Even when someone rejects your offer, the door may still be open. Break down the problem into its components and solve them one by one. This procedure may reshape the way your counterparty perceives the main issue. In other words, the way you frame and define the problem is crucial. Present the facts, analyze the problem and suggest a path to a solution. To address a problem non-confrontationally, use a soft touch warning. Point out the unfavorable consequences of failing to achieve a compromise. Avoid making threats; they're rarely justified. However, if you do make a threat, be prepared to carry it out. If your counterparty has a closed mind or refuses to give you anything but a yes or no response, try asking probing questions. Use the other person's own words. Don't ask why questions, because answer will not open the door to dialogue. Instead, start a conversation by asking, what if, or ask the other parties what they thought of your proposal. Keep in mind the status of your counterparties in their organization's hierarchy. Managers at the top of an organization, who can make decisions without having to get anyone else's approval, are generally more willing to compromise than those in the middle or on the bottom. Finding compromises. Don't fall into the trap of taking a position that you cannot change. If necessary, engage an outside authority. This can be as simple as researching Blue Book values to determine a fair price for a used car, or as complex as looking into compensation statistics to set an executive's salary. When two negotiators cannot agree, outside parties have been able to find solutions for everything from the terms of a real estate sale to the division of artwork between a divorcing couple. Some experienced negotiators even flip a coin to resolve an impasse. Two dog owners who decided to breed their Irish wolfhounds took a creative approach to dividing the puppies from the litter. A problem arose because one dog owner was an expert in Irish wolfhounds, while the other knew nothing about how to choose a high-quality puppy. Together, they decided that the expert dog owner would choose two puppies. Then, the novice could take one of the two puppies the expert had picked. This went on until they had divided all the dogs. Nice guys finish first. You can drive a hard bargain and still be a nice person. In fact, your counterparties will be more likely to accept less than ideal outcomes if they think you're nice. In one case, a robber took the time to hand back certain personal items, such as family pictures, to his victims. When the police caught him, some of his victims expressed a liking for him. They hoped he would receive a lenient sentence. View your counterparty as your opponent, but not as your enemy. You'll accomplish more by being open and friendly than by being brusque and tough. People, conditions, and relationships should all have an influence on your bargaining strategy. Take the case of negotiating with the contractor who is building your new home. The contractor is reputable, and because business is slow and he needs to keep his crew working, he is willing to work for less money than usual. This puts you in a good position, but it also raises the question of how hard you should push. You're already getting a good deal. If you demand an even lower price or ask for too many concessions, the contractor may become resentful. You may have difficulty making changes after you've finalized the plans. A better approach is to go easy, since you'll need to have a long-term, friendly relationship to get the job done. In bidding situations where you have no initial price, you may be uncertain about which party should make the opening bid, and for how much. Either party may have a good reason for wanting to start the bidding. In general, the seller asks for a high amount and the buyer offers a low amount, but that's not a hard and fast rule. The party who makes the first bid sets the anchor price. If you feel a price is too high, present a comparison, show that a similar item sold recently for less. Test the other party's reaction to a lower offer. Be reasonable. Commercial negotiation. In commercial negotiations, price is only one factor. Other important areas, each of which you must negotiate separately, include financing, cash or credit, finance terms, interest rates, discounts for early payments, quantity breaks, collateral and security, risk warranties, inspection procedures, repairs, downtime and guarantees, delivery, how, when and where, who pays for shipping, late penalties, and who is responsible for damages and packaging expenses. Marketing, exclusive selling rights, advertising program costs, sole supplier rights, minimum purchases, training costs and the length of the contract. Try pairing components to make deals. For example, if you're the buyer, offer to forego having the seller box each unit separately in return for a lower price. Or, agree to the seller's price, if you can pay in 90 days or if the seller will pay for shipping. Ask for concessions you don't really want to test whether the seller will lower the price. Watch your back. Negotiating can be a tough business that has a downside for the unsuspecting or unsophisticated person. Here are a few tips to defend yourself. Avoid standardized contracts for loans, installment purchase plans, and construction, architectural or financing agreements. These contracts are prepared by trade associations or businesses to protect the business owners and their interests. They are not designed to be friendly to the purchaser. If a store refuses to issue you a refund because it is against its policy, ask if it has ever made exceptions. If the policy includes loopholes, it is not a policy. If the company changed the policy once, it can do it again. When you're buying a car, find out the dealer's actual costs for the car you want. The dealer's cost comprises the invoice, or base cost, minus factory incentive rebates and holdbacks, paid by the factory quarterly based on the car's price. They can range from 2% of the base invoice to 3% of the total sticker price. Make a bid over the invoice price, not the sticker price. If you do not like your salesperson, ask for a new salesperson or go to another dealer. Don't allow the salesperson to intimidate you. Don't accept an offer to take the car home with you overnight. That only increases the sales pressure. When selling a business, make sure, if you have a secured note, that the buyer cannot sell or transfer the inventory, accounts receivable or equipment you are using as collateral without your consent. If your buyer wants even more security, use guarantors who will agree to timely payment of the amount you owe, not just eventual payment. Collect money in person. If a corporation owes you a significant sum, ask for the owner's personal guarantee or for a note secured by company assets or the owner's home. When negotiating for a cruise, remember that travel agents generally receive a 10% commission on the cruise fare, 5% on airfares and hotels, and 10% on travel insurance. Agents who book many travelers become preferred agents, who get an additional 30% commission from some cruise lines. Thus, preferred agents have lot of room to negotiate price, accommodations, gratuities, and shipboard allowances. Every negotiation calls for different techniques and tactics. Becoming a skilled negotiator can enhance your business, competitiveness, and relationship skills.